I love this quote. It says, "We are not human beings having a spiritual experience. We are spiritual beings having a human experience." I want you to think about that as I read this verse. This is our passage for today. It's very insightful. It's just loaded and rich with information. It's 2 Corinthians chapter 4, verse 16. It says, "Therefore we do not lose heart, even though our outward man is perishing, yet our inward man is being renewed day by day. For our light affliction, which is but for a moment, is working for us a far more exceeding and eternal weight of glory. Well, we do not look at the things which are seen, but the things which are not seen. For the things which are seen are temporary, but the things which are not seen are eternal." Boys, there's a lot in that passage, isn't there? First of all, he contrasts your spiritual being with your physical being. He says the outward man, which would be the physical man, right? He says it's perishing. Any of you noticed that? Any of you noticed any of you noticed this physical man kind of wearing out? I mean, you know, I used to have wrinkles, and then they became creases, and today they're crevasses, is what they are. You know, people say to me, "Pastor Mark, you should put on a little makeup when you go on television." Makeup? I need auto body filler. There's no point. I buy Bondo by the gallon. It still doesn't help, man. And he says that our outward man is perishing, but our inward man is being renewed day by day. The inward man's not wearing out. The inward man is not getting older and decrepit. The outward man is perishing. The inward man is the real person, because that's the eternal side of you, because the outward man's not only perishing, it's going to perish. And then he uses this strange little expression. He says, "For our light affliction, which is but for a moment." Who can tell me what he's talking about? Life. That's life. He calls life a light affliction, which is but for a moment. Boy, that's a big different view than we have about life. We think life is this long, expanded time, and we think we're here for a good time, not a long time. You're not here for a good time. You're here for a hard time. That's what it says. This light affliction, which is but for a moment. And it is the reason why the disciples did not hold on to their life so dearly. They were actually willing to give up their life. They were willing to be martyred. Why? Because it was a drop in the bucket. It was just a hard time for but a moment, and then it was over. You know, last week I did a funeral. It was the oldest person I've ever done a funeral for. It was Ernie, our producer of our television show. It was his mom, Mrs. Nathaniel. She was just a few weeks shy of 101 years old. 101. I went to her 100th birthday. I thought, how many 100 birthdays ever I'm going to? I'm going to this. Anyway, we buried her at 101, and that's a new record for me. I did my father-in-law's. He was just shy of 100. And you know, I don't know if you know this, most people aren't going to live to 100. And as I was thinking about this woman who made it past 100 years old, I was thinking about how we think, oh, she lived such a long, long time. And I'm thinking, no, that's not what the scripture says. It says this light affliction, which is but for a moment. James says it's a vapor that's here for a moment and then is gone. And here's the point. Whether your life is 31, 51, 71, or 101, it's all just a moment. One moment is longer than the other. It's still just a moment. And we get so upset when someone dies prematurely. But if they know Christ, it doesn't matter, because this is what the song says. Amazing Grace, the last verse. It says, when we've been there 10,000 years, bright shining as the sun, we'll have no less days to sing his praise than when we first begun. 10,000 years and you've just got going.